The company, I'm sorry.
A year ago, it could have been higher. I don't know. I have reduced it over the last 3 or 4 years.
You have reduced it?
It was at 6-7% at one time, yes.
And why did you reduce it?
Basically, it was to afford the monthly spending habits. I reduced it to increase our cash at the end of each month to be able to afford our monthly bills.
Does your company have a match?
Yes, they match at 3.5%.
Any other voluntary contributions that you make, which are deductions from your salary?
The only other one that's voluntary is I make a contribute to our stock purchase plan, which is currently right now set at 1%.
And have you changed that at all within the last year?
Again, with the last year, I can't be certain. I'd say with the last 5 years, it's been reduced as well. It was at one time at 10%.
Within the last, when was it at 10%?
The last 5 years, I'd say.
Did you and Nancy argue about money?
It was a common discussion that we had discussions on, yes.
How often?
I'd say probably at least weekly. We had discussions on money. I wouldn't say arguments, but we had discussions on money.
Would you raise your voice?
I'm not one to usually raise my voice.
So would that be no?
I would not usually raise my voice. I'm not saying I've never raised my voice, but I'm not one to commonly raise my voice.
Did Nancy raise her voice?
Nancy's more inclined to raise her voice, yes.
And did she raise her voice on a regular basis?
I guess it all depends on how you say regular, but when she was upset, she would raise her voice.
Would she yell?
Yes.
Did she scream?
She would raise her voice, yes. I don't know if you'd classify it as screams, but she would definitely raise her voice. And
did the arguments occur in front of your children?
sometimes Nancy would yell in front of the children.
What would she say? Give me an example of how she would yell in front of the children.
She would just be angry at that we didn't have more money to spend.
Angry at whom?
Angry at myself.
And what would she say?
What would she say?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Just give me an example, a flavor.
She referred to me as the budget Nazi, so I'm sure she probably has said that once or twice in a heated conversation.
Did she call you that to your face, or?
Yes.
And how would she say that?
She would say it sometimes in a calm voice, sometimes in an angry voice. It all depended on the conversation.
How did that make you feel?
It made me feel it was an unfortunate situation that our monthly bills were high enough that we didn't have more spare cash to spend and allocate to enjoyment, expenditures that would bring more enjoyment to ourselves and the kids.
Did she curse at you?
Yes, I'd probably say that she had more than one occasion swore at me, yes.
How frequently?
Are you talking over an 8-year period? I guess it changed based on...
How about just since January 1 of 2008?
I'd say at least once every 2 weeks. It's an estimate, it's a guess.
What types of words would she say? How'd that make you feel?
Made me... I wasn't happy about it. But I felt like I didn't have too much of a choice given, I make a fixed income, we have fixed bills. I didn't really have too much choice.
Too much choice over what?
Over how much money we could spend.
Did Nancy yell at you about anything other than money?
The other thing that, of course, was the incident with Heather.
Tell me about that.
She was unhappy that I had slept with Heather.
Did she yell?
Yes, of course.
Did she curse at you?
Yes.
What did she say? Topics that you and Nancy would argue over?
Earlier in the marriage, she was unhappy that I worked too much. She felt that I had spent too much time working.
What would she say?
She just basically indicated that I spent too many hours at the office and needed to spend more time at home.
When was that?
Earlier in our relationship, the first couple of years.
What about later in the relationship? And I'm really focusing on the last year prior to her death. Did you argue about anything else?
Those are probably the two biggest topics, was the incident with Heather and finances.
Did you ever curse at Nancy?
I'm sure we've had heated arguments, just like any married couple.
And my question was, have you ever cursed at her?
Yes, I have.
And what have you said in front of the children?
No.
Was there ever an occasion in early 2008 when either your water or utilities were cut off?
Yes. Late February, we missed paying a bill and missed the cancellation notice, and they shut off our water for a day.
When you say we, who normally paid the household bills?
I guess I would normally pay them online.
Okay. What caused you to miss the bill and miss the cancellation notice?
We had bills scattered all over most of the home. The front desk, the desk in the living room. We had bills upstairs. A lot of them were unopened. So it's one that I didn't grab the mailbox. Our mail comes in the afternoon. Nancy usually picks up the mail in the afternoon and puts it in the home.
And how did Nancy react when the water was turned off?
She was pretty upset. You couldn't wash clothes, you couldn't do dishes. So she contacted me, and I immediately contacted the town of Cary to have it turned on that day.
Did she blame you for that?
I believe, yeah, she probably blamed me, yes.
Do you think that Nancy mistreated you during the marriage?
Define mistreatment. I did.
Well, did she treat you poorly during the marriage?
I'd say there was some actions and some conversations that were probably uncalled for. I'm not too sure I'd classify it as mistreatment.
Did you have a good marriage?
I'd say we had our ups and downs.
From January 1, 2008 to July 12, 2008, did you and Nancy have a good marriage?
I would say our marriage was more in the down side of things.
At what point let me ask you this, did you ever decide that the marriage was over?
Did I decide that? It wasn't a decision I made. Nancy had chosen not to pursue marriage counseling anymore and wanted to pursue a separation.
When did you learn that?
I learned that she didn't want to continue marriage counseling after her individual session with Maria.
How'd you find out?
Nancy told me.
What'd she say?
She says that I asked how her session went, and she said that she didn't want to go back and didn't want to continue it.
How'd that make you feel?
Made me sad.
Do you recall exactly when she told you that?
I don't remember the exact date of the marriage counseling sessions, but it was, I believe, February. Actually, I don't even know what month. It was February, March time frame.
Do you recall where you were when you had the discussion?
We were in the kitchen at the time.
And tell me exactly what she said.
As far as I can recall, she basically said that she did not want to continue with the marriage counseling, and she couldn't get over the incident with Heather.
Once you learned that she intended to end the marriage, what did you do?
I don't know if we did anything. We initially talked about what to do with the kids, what we were going to do with each other, with the home, that sort of thing.
Did you contact an attorney?
I did not contact an attorney until after the draft separation agreement was forwarded to me by Nancy.
Do you recall when she forwarded you that draft separation agreement?
I believe it was mid-April, guessing. I don't have the exact date.
And how did she forward it to you?
She sent it from her the email account nanner.com, nanner.nc.r.com to my work email.
And is that the email account you referred to as the family account?
Nancy usually primarily was the user of it, yes.
Did you use it as well?
Yes, there was no password on it. We used it for anything that required, anytime you needed to send an email and you were downstairs.
Okay. And upon receiving that proposed separation agreement, did you then contact an attorney?
Nancy and I reviewed it together first. And then after reviewing it, I thought it was somewhat unreasonable, and I told Nancy I thought I should see an attorney to see what was reasonable and see what my rights were.
And then did you contact an attorney?
I believe I contacted an attorney a few days later, yes.
Do you recall who you contacted?
The Rosen Law Firm.
And did you have a consultation there?
I did.
Okay. Did you retain the Rosen Law Firm?
No.
Why did you not retain the Rosen Law Firm?
Initially, I talked to them about it, and they assigned me a lawyer. And 2 weeks later, the lawyer still hadn't contacted me. So I emailed them back saying, can you assign me another lawyer so I could have someone to talk to? And a week or two went by again, and no one contacted me, so I figured that it was probably best to see another law firm.
Did you ever attempt to make any payments to the Rosen Law Firm?
I did.
What payment?
I tried to use a check from a credit card, and it looked like the credit. It was I must have used an old check card or an old check from a credit card, and it didn't go through.
Do you recall the amount?
It was $7,000.
Why did you think the separation agreement was unreasonable?
Doing the kind of the math of just the child portion of it, the visitation I didn't think was reasonable, nor the amounts. Basically, I kind of added up the amount, and the amount initially requested was more than I actually made.
The amount of what?
Everything under the portion allocated to regarding the children, I guess.
Child support?
Child support, medical, private school, extra activities. Yeah, I kind of added it up, and I ballparked it at over $5,000 to $6,000.
And tell me again your annual salary?
My annual salary is about $120 or so, depending on the bonus, which changes every year.
Okay. And what was your bonus last year?
Approximately $29,000, $27,000.
Do you know, have you filed a 2007 tax return?
2007, yes.
What was the adjusted gross income on that tax return?
On that one, it was $170, but that includes stock and stock options I liquidated via Cisco.
And absent the stock and stock options that you liquidated, what would your gross income be?
I'm guessing 105 plus 30, so close to 135, I guess.
So did you receive a raise in 2008?
I did receive a raise in 2008, yes.
When was that?
Early summer of 2008, and I also received one. I guess I will be receiving one this fall. I've been notified.
When were you notified that you'll be receiving a raise this fall?
I got an email 2 weeks ago. I talked to my manager about it.
Was it a group email or was it an email just to you?
It was an email just to myself.
And tell me the substance of the email. What did it say?
It was a form letter that basically said, based on your performance this year, you've been granted a pay increase of X percent, 3% or something like that.
And who's the manager that sent you that email?
Shilpa.
Okay. When does that raise become effective?
I believe that.
I'm going to object based on relevance, so go ahead.
I believe sometime near the end of October.
Okay. I think this might be a good time to take a break, if y'all are okay with that, just for 30 minutes.
What time is it?
It's 1:15.
Going off the record, the time is 1:15 p.m.